A historically segregated African American cemetery. There's another cemetery across the street. It's known as Oak Ridge, also an African American cemetery. And in these cemeteries we have 126 American veterans. And so we're here today to honor these veterans for Veterans Day weekend by respectfully cleaning their stones and making them appear as if they belong in Arlington National Cemetery, and that's the way they should look. And so I'm going to give you a demonstration on how we do this. It's not rocket science, but you don't know what you don't know. And so let's start with what we don't do. What we don't do is we don't use bleach. Never use bleach when you're cleaning headstones. It destroys the stone. It may not look bad when you walk away, but come back a couple years later and there will be granules of marble all around the bottom of the stone. We don't use pressure washers. Instant gratification, hit it with a pressure washer, you blow off all that stuff, but you also might blow the cross off the top, which is really important. You might blow off some of these little etchings called a name. You won't know who the stone was for. And just little particles come off under pressure. We also don't use any metal brushes. Never use any type of a wire brush, Brillo, because it'll scrape the stone, it'll damage it. So we only want to use one thing to clean stones, and it's this product right here. This product is known as D2 Biological Solution. The federal government recognized they had a problem in their national cemeteries, and they put together a research project to determine the best product that would clean off all this biological growth and not damage the natural stone. And this is the winner. This is the product that has been, there's actually an executive order from the President of the United States that this product is the only product to be used on our veteran headstones. So the way this works is, we've got a water bottle. We're going to mist the stone just to moisten up this, this organic growth. Alright, now we got that. Now we're going to give it a coating of D2. You just do it one time and then we're going to let it sit here for 5 or 10 minutes and let it work. I don't really need 5 or 10 minutes, so I'll give it maybe 2. Because you could clean these stones and they'll look beautiful without anything but water and a brush. But this organic material here, you'll leave the spores all over the stone and it will repopulate quickly. So this is going to kill all of those spores. And by the way, it's hard to tell right now, but this is Nathan, maybe C or G, C, Nathan C. Roberts. When we get done here, everyone's going to know who this stone belongs to. I have to walk on his grave right now because I'm cleaning his stone, but another thing is you don't want to walk on graves. It's disrespectful. So when you're in a cemetery, this is the headstone. All these headstones are facing east. Every cemetery in Fort Myers is facing east because that's what people believe is that Jesus Christ is going to rise again someday in the east. It's what Jesus says in the Bible. And so that's why all these stones are facing east. So his body's laying this direction. His feet are here, his head is there. And so when you want to be respectful and walk around whoever you're visiting, or you don't step on his grave to get to that grave.
The spores, are you not supposed to assist the spores by scraping or anything? Or
what's that?
No, the spores, don't.
You don't have to do anything. If you have really thick, sometimes there's so much organic, it's like a mossy, just an inch of thickness there. You would take like a wooden dowel and you can scrape it off with a wooden dowel, but there's not any metal.
Fine. You got a good story to tell here.
So, yeah, people don't realize that all these graves are facing east, and I didn't either until I started cleaning all the headstones of my ancestors, and I couldn't get pictures in the morning because my face was shadowed on the stone, and then in the afternoon I couldn't get a picture because the sun was shining in my face. And then it dawned on me after cleaning about 10 or 20 of them, I was getting frustrated, and I went, oh my gosh, they're all facing the same direction. Alright, so you give it a dose of D2, and then this scrub brush is like $2.50 at Home Depot Pro. I like this brush. It's got a nice point on it. The bristles aren't too hard. They're very dense bristles, where some of these, they're separated. And so you get a good scrubbing on the stone with this. I'm going to keep this moist as I'm working. with my water bottle, and then I'm going to take a jug of that water and we'll rinse off the top.
Oh wow, that was right off.
This is not something that you're in a hurry to do. It takes about 45 minutes to clean a stone. So you're doing this in a respectful manner, and you want to be thorough. You're not in a hurry, a race to see how many stones you can do in a day. If it takes you all day to do one stone, that's fine. You just move on to the next one when you're done. And it won't look 100% white when I get done, because some of these organic living organisms have embedded themselves in the marble. And so no matter how hard I scrub, I'm not going to get to those parts, but the D2 will. And a couple months from now, when you come back and the rain and the sun and the wind work on this stone, it will continue to get more and more clean and white. Anybody hand me one of those bottle jugs of water? Oh, thank you. Another thing is this stuff splatters. So I stand off to the side as I'm doing this because it's splinging there and there. So anything in that area or this area is going to just get coated, like all these speckles here. It'll get all over your clothes. All right, so here's going to be your first reveal.
Oh, there's no data to see.
So,
Wow.
and you can see the difference between where we started and what's still here. And then around the small parts of the stone, I don't know what happened to my toothbrushes. I'll use this. You want to get into these nooks and crannies, you got to use a smaller, tighter bristle and work around this cross. And you can really bring out all the details of the cross. All those little organisms are now gone.
And so every rain that comes, it's going to get a little cleaner?
Yeah, it's going to get cleaner. Thank you very much. I mean, so it's a lot different than what we started with a second ago. And when I get done with this stone, the entire stone front, back, side is going to look like this. You can see how beautiful the cross is now without having all this black stuff on there. So that's how it's done. When you get inside these letters here, you just use a toothbrush, something with a little bit of a point to it, and you just get inside these. And you work inside each letter. And it takes time. This isn't. There's a lot of letters on here, but it's definitely a rewarding experience to see this man who served our country and risked his life. These veterans, they write a blank check for America, and some of them, America comes along and they cash those checks, and those servicemen don't come home. And there are men in these cemeteries who didn't come home from war. They died in a war zone, and their headstones need to be honored and respected. So I appreciate everybody coming out and joining us today. So we've got products over here, supplies. When you finish cleaning a headstone, we're going to drive a PVC piped flag holder to the right side of the stone. The right front side of the stone, as close as you can get it to the stone. Keep it vertical as much as you can. And then we've got flags over here. Each one of these veterans is going to be honored with a flag today. Any questions?
When you say the right, you're right or the stone's right?
Right, when you're looking at the face of the stone, the right side of, yeah, right over here.
All right, let's get busy.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Excuse me.
Okay.